Hello and welcome back to Things You Missed in Skyrim, where I show you places that have an interesting story to tell, even though they're not quite part of a major quest. Today I'm going to show you 3 places which have a relatively short or tiny story to tell, and they're a little bit sad. They will involve death and some misery, but then again, what doesn't in Skyrim? Anyway, let's dive right in. For our first location, you need to start out near Rorikstead. And when you look at the minimap above, well, it's not a minimap, more like a location indicator, I suppose. At the top of the screen you will see a small shack. That is where Lund's hut is, and we will visit that, as that will be our first location. After a short walk, we arrive at the house, and we are greeted by a bunch of skeevers, which I can't seem to kill as quickly as I'd like. Come on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's just a tiny farmstead. No other animals around besides the skeevers. And if we go inside, the place is infested with skeevers as well. Oh, just 2 of them. Okay. Most noticeable is this dead man lying on his bed named Lund. There is no journal around in which you can read what his story is. All we know is that there are skeevers in his house. His house is a mess. It's filled with clutter, and he put like little bowls with meat in here, and there's food lying open everywhere. And on top of that, there's a small bottle of poison on his table, as well as an empty wine bottle. Did he get drunk and drink the poison while he was feeling desperate? Did he want to poison his food so that the skeevers would eat it, but he accidentally ate some of this poisoned food? Were the skeevers actually his friends? Were they unwelcome intruders, and did they bite him and he died of ataxia or the rattles? We don't know. But still, it's a sad little scene. For our next location, we will go north from Lund's hut. So we start walking, and after quite a long walk, we end up at this shack called Mikos Shack. Inside, it's a bit more orderly than a previous location. There's a man lying on his bed. It's just a regular Nord. And there is a journal on his desk. Well, after all my years living in these woods, it looks like Rockjoint will finally be the end of me. I guess that's fine. All my friends are long dead. The only one left is poor Meeko. He was always a loyal companion, and I know he'll be able to take care of himself. I hope someday I'll see him again. It's really quite sad. What makes this more interesting, however, is the fact that the Meeko he's referring to is in fact a dog, who sits inside the house or sometimes roams around it, and he can actually become your companion if you so desire. I can't seem to find him. For our third and final set location for today, we will start near the Dawnstar Sanctuary and simply start walking towards the east. Here we see this tent, known as the Lover's Tent, but we're not going to talk about that. No, we're going to keep walking, in fact. Okay, somewhere halfway in between the Dawnstar Sanctuary and Hobsfall Cave, you will see in the distance some smouldering fires along the icy beaches. It looks like an explosion has gone off, which is actually quite likely. And if we look at the middle, at the epicenter of the explosion it seems like, we see this burned corpse called Yisra. We examine her, we find some gold, and this object called Yisra's necklace, as well as the spell tome of Flame Cloak. Now, clearly this very strongly implies that this Yisra was trying to practice some spell or did some research to the Flame Cloak spell, burning themselves quite badly. Ouch. Just like I did just there. But we can actually follow this up at Winterhold College. At Winterhold College, we have to locate this man called Finis Jester.
There are few places where one can pursue my type of work without fear of persecution. That incident in Morthal was just a
If we scroll all the way down, there's the option to ask about missing apprentices.
Ah, that, yes. The group prior to yours has disappeared entirely. It's possible that there was less than the necessary amount of oversight. That's still being looked into. but we've had no contact with them for quite some time now. Arniel wondered if perhaps they'd somehow managed to get themselves lost in the Outer Realms, but I think that's giving them too much credit. I'm not sure. None of them were working on anything terribly dangerous. As I recall, Yisra was trying to improve flame cloak
Which we just found. We just found her burning corpse. Or burnt corpse.
Elos Tai was practicing illusion spells. She was having trouble with the con spells, I believe, but only ever worked with skeevers. And then there's Borvir and Rundi, twins, though they rarely agreed on anything. Those two boys were obsessed with mead, convinced they could concoct something to compete with Hunning Brew. Something about using frost magic to chill the mead for a certain period of time. I felt it was a waste, but the Archmage let them proceed.
Well, there you have it. A couple of apprentices have gone missing, and we have been able to find one of them, and that was poor Yisra. We can actually go searching for the others, though I think I'll save that for a later episode. 3 locations which aren't really tied to any quest whatsoever, and there's frankly nothing to do at those locations, but still, there's a story to be told, and that is something you might have missed in Skyrim. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.